So in this video, I'll be looking at how is the use of social media contributing to digital transformations in the fabric of everyday life. So I'm going to simplify that question to how does social media transform everyday life, and how does that what technology is that social media using? So for me, I'm going to look at a number of different things. I'm going to look at the idea of prosuming, which is something that we've learned over the past year in media, in social media production. I'm going to look at the way I believe, and just like a few examples of what I believe it's altered. So I'm going to look at eating, which I think is a surprising one for us all. I didn't think that it would change something like the way we eat, but it definitely has. I'm going to look at obviously communicating, because that's one of the most obvious ones of what social media does, is it's changed the way we socialize and communicate. I'm also going to look at the way it's changed how we consume news and how we read news, and how we can now be part of the production of news. So yeah, let me start off with the idea of prosuming. So prosuming, a prosumer is the idea that with social media, you're no longer just a producer or a consumer. You can be both. You can consume content off of a website such as Wikipedia, which is probably one of the most traditional ones, one of the first ones where you could get this information. But if you knew information that would help, or information that was different, or that was factual, you could add to it, and you could become part of the production of this content, this media text. So then that evolved, I would say, into its next generation, which would be something like Facebook, and then YouTube and Twitter and Instagram are the latest versions, and finally you'd say something like Snapchat is that, because all these platforms do is they give people somewhere where they can be a part of the consumption of media text. So they can read all these tweets, and they can like, and they can share them to their friends, which is the idea of consumption. Although you could argue that sharing it to their friends is helping with the production. You're pushing it out to different people so that they can consume it. And then with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these, you produce your own media text. So you produce your own images for Instagram, sorry, and for Twitter and Facebook, you predominantly write your own um, statuses, and you tweet them out, and they are then consumed by your audience. So that's the idea of prosumer, and that's that idea that you're not one or the other anymore. To use those websites, you have to be both. You have to both use them for consumption and for production. And I think that shows you how different it is. Whereas historically, you'd say that people were just consumers. People just read newspapers, watched TV, read books, listened to radio stations. And you can say that that started to change kind of when you could do call-ins to radios, and you started to then add to the production, but you were never the sole producer. Whereas with these websites, you produce your own content. You produce what you want to push out into the rest of the world. And then obviously you've got stuff like the way we eat, which I said earlier is a surprising one for me, and it's one I didn't even think of. But people now choose what they eat based on what it looks like, and that's because of Instagram, and that's because of Twitter, and that's because of Facebook, because people take these pictures and share them out into the world, and then people are drawn in and go to these restaurants where this picture was taken. People now choose where they eat because of reviewing as well. Reviews historically were just for people who worked for newspapers. They reviewed and critiqued, and food critics who were reputable people. But now anyone can be a critic. Anyone can go online and rate a restaurant out from 1 to 5 and say what was good and what was bad, and people pay attention to that, even though they don't have that whole authenticity that you might say of old media. So the old media was the critics that worked for newspaper, but the new is this website, this whole idea of Web 2.0 that Dave Gauntlet said, which is it's like a load of gardens all connected, so you can get from one to the other, and it's incredible how people have changed, and the way they eat, the way they choose restaurants, even on the reviews, it's changed how people shop. People now shop online and look at reviews on products, and People they make money reviewing products online. On YouTube, people will review an iPhone. They'll sit there and review this phone, and then people will make their decision based on that. And the views that they get then goes into their advertising revenue, and they get money from it. So it's absolutely insane how social media has changed everything. It's changed jobs. It's changed companies. Companies now have a social media element. Companies now, some companies like Tesco's, and for my age group, especially Tesco, Sainsbury's, as the car companies such as like Vauxhall, Ford, Volkswagen, drinks companies like Coke, I see the majority of their adverts online. I see them on Twitter, I see them on Facebook, I see them on YouTube prior to watching the videos. I don't see much on TV because I don't watch much TV because of Netflix, because of YouTube, because of all of these websites, because of social media. So companies have had to adapt their their, their advertising, and that's kind of something that you would say is part of that digital transformation. It's that transformation from seeing an advert for Coke on a newspaper, you now see it on the computer, you see it on the TV, you see it everywhere, but it's digital. It's not kind of printed. And then obviously I said about learning. So with learning, I feel like, when you was younger and it was that switch from kind of interactive whiteboards from normal whiteboards, you can say it's had another evolution. I remember doing most of my revision when I was at GCSEs and A levels online. I didn't read textbooks because all that information was online, and you could do quizzes, and you could watch YouTube videos where teachers would spend 10-15 minutes going through each topic. And it's incredible that you can get an education without leaving this room. You can study for a Key Stage 3 up to maybe even Key Stage 5. I'm lucky I don't do exams for university, but you may have to. You may be able to watch university videos, lecturers talking about guiding students on how to approach different challenges and different questions online. And I mean, look at the fact that all lectures are now recorded. Most of my lectures are recorded. If I miss that lecture, I don't miss it. I miss being there. I miss physically being there, but I don't miss it because I can go on replay and watch it. And it's all those sorts of things that show you this whole idea of digital transformation. People can do everything on one of these, on a computer. And that's just something that people have neglected and don't understand, that 10-15 years ago, if I wanted to pick a restaurant, you'd read the menus and see which one you preferred. Now, I pick up my phone, I see who's got the better rating, I can look at their menus online. Everything is here. Everything is here, available to me. And I think that's that transition, that fact that even communication, you can have face-to-face on this phone. You can FaceTime on this phone. For some people, that is as close to a real encounter as they will get with their closest friends. They will FaceTime because they live in opposite ends of the world, opposite ends of the country. They'll never meet in person, but they can communicate instantaneously and almost and visually, physically, in the sense of, and I know that is completely incorrect, but in the sense of they're seeing them. When they speak, the words are coming out in their face. They can see that. It's that idea of that transformation from when people needed that kind of human contact. It's almost there. I believe it probably won't be long until there's something that can attribute to that. We don't know, but I mean, it's incredible how these work. They're all about how everything's instantaneous. Communication is instantaneous. People fall in love now without ever meeting, because of dating apps like Tinder and through FaceTime and Facebook and all these websites, all these media channels and media platforms where you can get to know each other. You can find out people's interests by looking through their likes page. People put down their interests. You can find people, like-minded people. Like I like a certain breed of dog, so I'm a member of that dog's breed Facebook page, and I see loads of people with their dog of that breed. And you're connected. Some people live in Australia. I'll never meet these people, but I can communicate with them about their dog and the breed and everything in particular without knowing them truly. I think that is the biggest transformation that social media has had on everyday life. Obviously, this will be embedded into my blog, so above it will be a short introduction and below it will be a conclusion. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative and I hope it's told you everything that I believe has helped, how social media has contributed to digital transformations in the fabric of everyday life. Cheers.